Yipee-Ki-Yay, Mr. Falcon.
Wolfman's got nards. Come on, come
horror movie marathon mode, as we are every October. And that always includes the Monster Squad from 1987.
Oh, yeah. That's a perennial.
And I learned that there were 13 minutes cut from that movie because the studio wanted it to be like a tight 90-minute runtime. So at some point there was a much longer version, though I don't think it's never been. I looked, it's never been released or anything. It must be lost. So
there was another montage in there, I bet.
I don't know. Apparently, Dustin Diamond was had a small part trading baseball. Yeah, he was like in some scene where he was trading baseball kids with the guys. Apparently, something very easy to cut, and it's in the IMDb trivia. Like, yeah,
what?
Screech, okay. Yeah. And I also found out Seth Green almost got a role as one of the kids.
Oh, he would have been real young, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was a child actor. He was in stuff before he sort of grew up.
Sort of. He grew older.
Yeah. And he was in Buffy. He was a werewolf, actually, in Buffy. So he stuck with the theme for a while.
I saw him in some.
But Monster Squad, man, what a fucking movie, dude! What a movie!
Yeah, it's awesome.
I don't know, it's just it was like the cool Goonies. I watched the Goonies when I was a kid, but I was never a big Goonies fan like some people are. This movie was more like my Goonies, you know?
Yeah, I could see that. I would liked Goonies a lot, you know, and this had that kind of flavor. But like the kids in the Goonies were like a bunch of misfits, right? But then you had the Monster Squad kids, and like some of them were like, I mean, something approximating cool, you know? Because
I don't know about that.
No,
Maybe.
that's why I didn't say cool. I didn't say cool.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be cool.
Yeah,
you know,
Fat Kid was not cool, and that was brutal. Like at least like the Fat Kid in the Goonies had a name. They just called this motherfucker Fat Kid, and Horace was his name.
His name
was not much better.
Was Horace.
It's Horace. It's just we'll get into it. There's so many things I love about this movie, but a little background first, which is really kind of interesting. This is from the team up of director Fred Decker and screenwriter Shane Black.
Shane Black?
The team that brought us, many years later, the awful
The Predator.
film, The Predator. The same team. We expected so much, and they failed so big. But back in the 80s, they were on their game. That same year, in 1987, Shane Black had another movie he wrote come out, Lethal Weapon. So his career went on a bit of an upward trajectory after that.
You could say that.
That was actually the number 9th film of the year.
Which one?
Lethal Weapon.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to tell you why, because 1987 was a big fucking year for movies. And it was especially big for movies that became cult classics.
Which Tom Cruise movie came out that year?
I don't think anyone did. I think that was one of his skip years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. I think so. I didn't come across one. The top 10 was Believe it or not, the number one movie for the year of 1987 was Three Men and a Baby, followed by Fatal Attraction, Beverly Hills
huge.
Cop 2.
Huge.
Yeah, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Good Morning America, Good Morning Vietnam, my bad, with Robin Williams. Moonstruck with Cher and Nick Cage. The Untouchables with Kevin Costner and Sean Connery and De Niro and everybody else in the world. Directed by De Palma. The Secret of My Success with Michael J. Fox was number 7. Followed by Stakeout with Richard Dreyfuss
Stakeout.
and Emilio Estevez.
Oh, yeah.
Then Lethal Weapon, followed by The Witches of Eastwick. But that does not tell the entire tale. Let's just run through this list I got here of movies that came out in 1987, in addition to The Monster Squad. First, these are in order by when they came out through the year. Over the Top, the Stallone movie.
Oh, the arm wrestling
movie.
one?
Yeah. Mannequin.
I saw Mannequin.
Some people liked it. Everyone saw it. Fucking weird movie. But hey, it was something. Angel Heart, which you recently became a big fan of.
Yeah, that was dope.
So De Niro was in Angel Heart and The Untouchables that year. Evil Dead 2, Sam Raimi.
I haven't
Bruce
seen
Campbell,
Evil Dead 2 yet.
I don't fucking know, man. But that word yet. Raising Arizona. Police
Damn.
Academy 4, if you're into that sort of thing. Creepshow 2. The Gate, which we've talked about. Both of
The
those movies.
Gate.
Harry and the Hendersons. The John Lithgow
I love that
Bigfoot
movie.
vehicle. I know so many people did when we were kids. It was fucking awesome.
It was insane.
Yeah, it's so goofy now, but it was fun as a kid. And coincidentally, the year that Shane Black had Lethal Weapon come out, the movie that made his early career before he had trouble with substances and stuff and had to take a break, that same year Predator came out, the original Predator. Schwarzenegger.
Man.
That was Arnold's movie for 87. Roxanne, that Steve Martin movie that everyone's mom liked.
I never saw that.
Yeah, you're not missing much. Spaceballs. Adventures in Babysitting with Elizabeth Shue.
Good Lord.
Inner Space, which saw Martin
Dennis
Short
Quaid?
saw Martin Short get injected into Dennis Quaid's ass. Full Metal Jacket. I mean, fuck. Jaws: The Revenge came out in
Wait, Jaws
1980.
4?
Jaws 4.
Oh, man. I loved that movie when I was a kid. And then I watched it as an adult. And I was like, sharks don't roar.
So ridiculous. I still will watch it every once in a while just for fun.
My name's Michael Caine.
RoboCop.
Oh, my God.
La Bamba, the Richie Valens story,
Okay.
starring Lou Diamond Phillips, which made him an actor, a star. Summer School, that Carl Reiner movie with Mark Harmon and Kirstie Alley.
I never saw that one.
Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, the worst movie of the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. We had a James Bond movie in 1987, The Living Daylights with Timothy Dalton.
Oh, yeah. And a young Benicio del Toro's in that?
Yes, he was one of the bad guys.
Hey, gringo.
Right? He was excellent. The Lost Boys. Yeah, The Lost Boys came out that year. Masters of the Universe, the He-Man movie with Dolph Lundgren.
Dude.
Wait, there's more. Dirty Dancing
Holy.
came out in 87. Hamburger Hill came out in 87, which was the debut of Dylan McDermott.
Oh, our
favorite.
Is he your favorite Dermot? Or is Dermot Mulrooney your favorite Dermot?
We've established that Dylan is my favorite, but you should not undersell
Dermot
the
Mulrooney.
other. Yes, Mulrooney. Very Mulrooney. Whatever, dude. We said Fatal Attraction. Hellraiser, the original Hellraiser, 87. Near Dark with Paxton and Lance Henriksen, the vampire movie.
Okay.
Your sisters know that one.
I'm sure they do.
The Princess Bride,
Dude.
Barfly, the movie about Charles
Barfly.
Bukowski with fucking Angel Heart guy.
Mickey
I'm going
Rourke.
up on his Mickey Rourke. Thank you.
That's your boy, man. Don't act like
I
you
know,
don't remember
I
his
fucked
name.
up. Prince of Darkness, John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness.
Oh man.
Yeah. Less Than Zero with Iron Man.
Is that was
Robert
the
Downey Jr.
Bret Easton Ellis?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, an adaptation of that Bret Easton Ellis novel. It had a bunch of the Brat Pack people in it. A lot of heroin. What's his name? Being a villainous bastard. It was great. Steel Dawn, the futuristic martial arts Patrick Swayze vehicle. It was. Some
Yeah.
people liked it.
I'm not familiar with that one.
The Running Man,
Dude.
Arnold's other movie from 1987. Teen Wolf 2, Jason Bateman. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles,
Jeez.
Steve Martin, John Candy. Throw Mama from the Train, with DeVito and Billy Crystal. Wall Street, Oliver Stone's Wall Street, of course, with Michael Douglas and Charlie Sheen. Batteries Not Included. That
I saw
Spielberg
that.
movie. Yeah,
That wasn't bad.
Overboard, the Kurt Russell,
Overboard.
Goldie Hawn. Yeah. Broadcast News, which is a classic. And Spielberg also put out Empire of the Sun that year. That World War II flick with a very, very young Christian Bale.
Yeah.
And that rounds out the year of 1987 in cinema. And that's not every movie that came out, of course, but those are the ones that
Good God.
I grabbed off the list. And what a fucking year for movies, man. No wonder something like The Monster Squad got a little lost, but it didn't get lost on us. Do you remember the first time you saw it? I don't. It always seemed like it was there.
No, it
Just
was
always there.
It was just around. Like I think we had a copy of it. I mean, yeah, I saw it. We had a VHS copy of it because, like, I remember distinctly. It was that Columbia TriStar logo in the beginning with like the horse running. You know,
I love that. I love that intro.
But I
love
remember
that.
it kind of like it didn't come in clean. It would like kind of like jerked in clean with all this like static. You could tell right where the recording started off
That's
of the
fantastic.
TV, and it came in like halfway through, and the sound's all warbly when it first starts.
That's fucking awesome. That was the that TriStar intro was before Rambo 2. I used to watch that all the time. That and Calico. Remember that?
Yeah.
That actually used a bit of the Rambo music.
Carolco.
Yeah, there was Calico and there was Carolco. Yeah.
Yeah. That movie,
fucking-
we just always had it, and it was
Me too.
awesome.
Me too. And yeah, like it's very Goonies-esque for sure. But the setup, for anyone who doesn't know, is you got a convergence of all of the Universal monsters. It's kind of like an MCU kind of thing way before they thought of it. But the caveat is, despite trying to, this movie was not made by Universal, and they could not get the rights to the Universal, quote-unquote, monsters. The classic lineup: Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman, the Mummy, Creature from the Black Lagoon. So what they did, since Dracula, Frankenstein are both in the public domain, Frankenstein's monster, they included them but made them different enough from the Universal version so as to not get sued. They had a werewolf and just didn't call him the Wolfman. No problem there.
They never call him the Wolfman?
No, they never. Well, they referred to the Wolfman like the Wolfman, but they never call that character the Wolfman.
Oh, they call it.
Well, wait,
oh,
I guess they do because Wolfman's got nards.
Wolfman's got nards.
I wonder how they got away with that.
Maybe it depends on how he's credited.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I know they call him
because the convert. Yeah, go ahead.
They call him the Gillman.
Yes.
They don't.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever say creature from the Black Lagoon. The Mummy has to be in the public domain by that point, right?
That's just kind of a general term too, you know. Like you can't. They couldn't use the what is it, Imhotep? I guess the character name from
Right.
the old Universal Mummy, but it's a generic mummy. They can't do it as long as it didn't look like the mummy.
It's like trying to
from those
patent the word
movies.
monster, you know.
Yeah. So they did enough to get away. Like the Frankenstein monster has the bolts in his temples instead of his neck, like the Boris Karloff and Glenn Strange versions, right? So you know, but he still has the big old fucking wooden shoes and shit. You know, he definitely classic Frankenstein's monster. He's played by Tom Noonan in this.
The Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, from Manhunter. Yeah, he was the only one who really. I mean, there's a bunch of character actors in it, and none of the kids really went on to do much.
Yeah,
But I don't know. Everyone just pulled their weight. What is it about this movie for you that makes it? Because I can watch it as an adult and I still love it, and that's so weird to me. Since it's a movie about kids that I related to as a kid, of roughly their age and eventually their age and then older. What is it about this movie that just fucking makes it stick, man?
I mean, well, let me ask you this: had you seen all the source material leading up to it? Like, were you familiar with the Universal monsters before you saw Monster Squad?
I feel like I saw Monster Squad first. I honestly don't know. Because again, we got a lot. This is how we saw most movies. My dad taped the classic Universal one Halloween. AMC had a marathon of all of the old Universal monster movies, all of them, from Shock Theater Part 1 and 2, back to back all night. And there was like a schedule. I remember between the movies, they would show the schedule of all the movies coming up in the next 8 hours or whatever. And everything, the Wolfman, the Mummy, the Bride of Frankenstein, the House of Dracula, all of them, the Curse, all of it, all the mummies, the Invisible Mans, all of them. And my dad taped a whole bunch of them, not all of them, but he got a lot of them. And I started, because he didn't want me watching rated R stuff, but I loved scary movies. So he figured this would work. They're ancient, you know, how scary could they be? And he liked them when he was young because they would show them on TV a lot when he was younger. And yeah, I got exposed to them probably around the same time, dude. You know, so I don't really. Why? Why do you ask? What does it mean? What does it matter?
Well, I mean, I think that's why I like them so much because I had seen them before I saw
Okay.
Monster Squad, you know, and I think it's just funny that you know because it could go both ways. Like you could see the Monster Squad and you would think that's cool. Where did this stuff come from? And then you do the deep dive. Or I think the way I came to it was I had seen all those, and then I find out wait a minute, there's a movie with all of them in it, and it's new,
Okay.
and I was really excited to see that because I was allowed to see. I don't remember what year I had seen the Monster Squad, but up to that point, I had been allowed to watch the old stuff because, like you say, you know, it was scary, you know, enough that it felt cool that you could watch it, but your parents weren't didn't find it so objectionable that they wouldn't let you put it on, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'd seen all that stuff. I saw the Wolfman. We used to watch that one constantly. I think that was my favorite when I was a kid. I'd seen the Creature from the Black Lagoon and loved it, you know? And yeah, it just, you find out there's this movie that has everybody in it and you're like, yeah, I'm on board. And then it was enough some other stuff that I was familiar with, like Goonies, and because I think I'd seen that first. And I'm like, God, this movie has everything. And then, you know, even I don't know if I'd like it as much now if I'd never seen it. And
Goonies?
Monster Squad.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know if I would like
Yeah.
it as much now if I'd seen it, if I'm seeing it for the first time as a 40-year-old.
Because as
But-
much as you try,
but I love it.
to watch. Yeah, as much as you try to watch it with fresh eyes, you never really can. Not something you saw this many times when you were a kid. And I think I saw this when I was pretty young. I mean, it's PG-13. I don't. Did they drop any F-bombs in this? I don't think they even do.
There's a little bit of language.
No F-bombs, though. No
No,
fuckers.
I don't think so.
No MFers. No MFers, no fuckers. So, I mean, it was fairly tame. There's no blood. You know,
There's like a little bit of blood. There's like vampires with blood on their mouths and stuff.
Yeah, when the werewolf guy gets shot in the police station, there's a little blood. But I mean, by 1987 standards, you basically saw that shit on TV.
Right.
You know? So I think it was fairly tame for kids. It was easy. It was easy for parents to let their kids watch while being a little edgy, making kids feel like they were seeing something cool. You know, but the setup is a lot like Goonies without the whole, like, we're going to lose our house thing.
You
got
everyone's going to lose their house when the vortex opens up.
We got the apocalypse to deal with, so there's that. So what is it? It's the core group is Sean and his buddy, the nerdiest one who somehow is cool, Patrick.
Wait, he's the nerdiest one?
I thought so, but I mean, there's no like they didn't have the stereotypical nerd.
No, they really didn't.
Which is interesting. You'd think a movie from that age they would have had like a kid who was a comic, but they were both like comic book nerds, but they weren't portrayed as like, you know, glasses and fucking
they were
all the time nerds.
They were monster kids, you know. They're just like they had a monster club. And then so consequently my sisters started a monster club because they wanted to be just like the kids in Monster
And everyone wanted a fucking clubhouse as cool as theirs, which was
a dope clubhouse.
Yeah. It was the most badass, like it was like a double level tree house overlooking a lake and shit. Fucking baller, man. It was, and then Dracula blows it up, and that's the worst part of the movie. People die in this movie. And that was the worst fucking part of the movie, is when he blows up their awesome treehouse. It was bullshit, Dracula.
Yeah.
And where did you get dynamite from, you son of a bitch?
I mean,
and that was badass though when he just lit it with his mind.
Yeah, he used his mind
Fucking
fire.
Awesome. Fucking killer. So I mean we're getting ahead of ourselves. So it's Sean, Patrick, and then Horace, otherwise known
Fat
mostly
Kid.
through the movies Fat Kid, fucking 1987.
Like even his friends call him Fat Kid.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. And then there's the that little kid who's always Eugene, always
with the dog.
Yeah, with his little beagle. He's younger than the rest of them, but somehow he's allowed to hang out with them. Okay, and then later Rudy joins the group, and he's like, like what is he like in junior high? Right, he's like in 8th grade or something.
Well, he's supposed to be the edgy one, right? And you remember when he first shows up,
on his bike,
he skids to a halt on his like BMX bike, and then they slowly pan up, and he lights a match on the sole of his fucking penny loafers.
Penny loafers with white socks.
Yeah, he's
and
dressed like
jeans
from the waist down. He's dressed like Michael Jackson. He's dressed like Michael Jackson from like the Beat It or the Bad video.
And then from the waist up, he looks like Wish.com Tom Cruise. You know, he's got the leather jacket. I think he might be wearing fingerless gloves. I'm not quite sure. Absolutely has Tom Cruise hair from the time and that whole thing going on. But he was the cool kid. Rudy was the cool kid. He defends Horace against the bullies when you first meet him, so instantly you like him. And I mean, it's weird. I watch it now, and like in my head, I think it was so heavy-handed, but you kind of get it if you watch it as an adult. Like Rudy is not the popular kid in his class.
No, he's really not.
He's hanging out with these young kids. I mean, he has ulterior motives because of what the treehouse looks over at, and because of
which went
sister
right over my head when I was a kid.
Yeah. But I mean, it's pretty much slammed in your face when you find out it's Patrick's sister, and he's like, "Yeah, all right, that's my in."
Well, and
so
then
Rudy's not stupid.
How they convince her to help them.
I love that she ends up being an asshole.
Her.
I know, and he ends up hating her too, which is the funniest part. Like he's pining after her so hard, and then he meets her, and he's like, "I fucking me."
Yeah, it was
the
great.
Fucking. So that's the core group, and then we've got Phoebe, who's Sean's younger sister. Phoebe, endless, adorable comic relief.
And don't forget
stuffed dog named Scraps.
Scraps, yes, Scraps was key. Don't forget scary German guy.
Yeah. Later on, scary German guy who lives down the street from them, who is a Holocaust survivor. Fucking 1987, baby. Woo! It's
Dude,
cheery.
There's a band called Scary German Guy.
I know. It's fantastic. And Sean's father is a cop.
Yeah, he's
And-
like a Timu version of Eric Roberts.
Yes, exactly. That guy's been in a million things if you look up his filmography. But yes, exactly. Stephen Mocht is his name. Mocht. And him and his wife are basically on the verge of divorce through the entire film.
Oh yeah, they're
that's
always
Mary-
yelling at each other.
Yeah. It's Mary Ellen Trainor, who had a lot of mom-esque roles in the 80s. I think she was... I feel like, she was the mom in the Goonies, too, I think.
Was she?
Believe it or not. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I think she was Sam Wise's mom. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah, Rudy's mom. Yeah.
We'll have our team of analysts investigate this claim.
Pretty sure I'm right.
You know, you probably
So-
are.
They have this monster club, and of course, what happens? Dracula has taken possession of the body of Frankenstein's monster. And as you do, it is being transported over wherever the fuck, any town, USA, in a World War II cargo plane for some reason. A bomber converted into a cargo plane. I don't know why. Richie Aprile from The Sopranos is one of the pilots.
Oh, that's right.
And then you hear, they hear a commotion. They go back. You see a crate labeled Frankenstein, right? It's fucking cool. Turns out it's Dracula. He's in the fucking thing. They pull the lever that opens up the bomb bay doors. And
He's just
Frankenstein's...
floating there.
Yeah, his monster's casket, it's like a big wooden box casket, drops into the lake behind. I think it's the same lake that's behind Sean's house.
It is.
Yeah, and so Dracula abandons ship so he can follow it because that's why he's there, and plot commences. It just kind of happens to be the right town because it's where the journal of whose journal is it? Is
Van
it Van
Helsing.
Helsing's journal? It's his journal, right? Okay. The Van Helsing, the Abraham von Helsing. It's the journal describing the attack that the movie opens with. So let's
That
start with
opening
that. The cold open.
is awesome.
All right. The cold open is in like, I don't know what, the 1700s. It's supposed to be.
It's been like 200
1800s.
years.
Yeah, I think that's what they say. There's like some text, some really hard to read red on black text. And it's kind of funny, you know. And it just basically says Van Helsing with a bunch of people went to war against the forces of darkness 200 years ago. They blew it.
They blew it.
And then, yeah. And then you see, it's an awesome intro with Dracula coming out of his creepy stone coffin and transforming it. And it's fucking awesome,
With
dude.
like the brides with him.
Yeah, and the brides are so creepy looking in this. They have the like, crazy cat eyes and fucking eating a possum.
Yo,
Fucking gross.
This movie for 1987, the production value is like it's awesome. This movie
Yeah.
looks amazing.
It still looks good. Well, Stan Winston did the makeup. His team did the makeup for it. So they got the best somehow to do
man.
the effects, and it shows and it helps it stand up. And there's no like stop motion or there's nothing really that takes you out of it. You know, you remember toward the end when Sean's dad shoots Dracula as a bat and he flies into that window.
Yeah.
And then he goes up and he finds like a half transformed.
God, yeah, that was gnarly.
Yeah, he's like a man bat. And dude, that looks so fucking real, man. Yeah, the only thing I don't like about the creature designs is the Wolfman can't turn his head. Like the costume seems like it's one big solid piece, like his shoulders and the whole head and neck to
He
make
has
it
to
look
do a
more
Batman
realistic.
turn.
But yeah, and when he goes to howl, he has to like bend up at the waist to howl at the sky. It's the only, and he doesn't really have a snout. It's a weird werewolf design, and I never really kind of liked it.
Well, I bet you they kind of had to make it different enough from the Wolfman to avoid getting sued.
I guess, but there's been a lot of werewolf designs, but I guess they wanted to keep it more like person looking, not as like the original Wolfman.
They went heavy on the man.
Heavy on the man, less on the wolf. All right.
Yeah.
All right. The Gillman looks amazing in this.
He really does.
He looks very different from the real Gillman, but he looks actually kind of freaked me out as a kid. He's not in it much. He's not in it much, but he is pretty creepy. The mummy, for what it is, I mean, it's basically a skeleton wrapped in bandages, but it's good enough. And it's great death scene. Awesome death scene.
See you later. Band-Aid breath.
All right, let's just paint a picture here. All right. There's the amazing montage of them gearing up. And during that, Rudy contributes by going to an archery range and stealing a compound bow. And it's a Hoyt compound bow.
Of course you know what kind of fucking bow it is.
Well, I know what kind of bow it is because it's the exact same bow that Stallone used in Rambo 2.
Oh, okay.
And it was actually sold as the Rambo model. And if you look in the movie, they put a piece of black tape over where the Rambo logo would be.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Was it called the Rambo?
No, it wasn't, sadly. They really fucked up on that one. That's what I'm saying. But he uses this bow through the whole final act of the movie. And when he kills the mummy, he ties a piece of the mummy's bandage, which apparently is all one still intact strip, even though it's from ancient Egypt, and ties it to an arrow and shoots the arrow into a tree from a moving Jeep, and the mummy unravels.
Awesome.
Until he's nothing but an ancient skeleton rolling on the road. It's fucking awesome. There's no other way to put it. And then he uses the bow to kill fucking vampire chicks.
Yeah, he shoots
wooden stakes. With no fletching or anything. Fuck it. I don't care. It's fucking awesome. It's amazing.
He's also 15.
Yeah, he looks definitely like he's in high school, not junior high. But you can't have a kid who looks like he's, in 8th grade shoot a werewolf in the heart. It just wouldn't play right.
Oh, yeah. Rudy, he fucks up a bunch. He kills the mummy. He kills the Wolfman. He kills, 2 of the brides.
Two of the brides.
He's a murder machine.
And the stake he made ends up killing Dracula. He makes the stakes. He makes the silver bullets in shop class, in high school, or wherever the fuck he...
What mistake does he make that kills Dracula?
No, the stake. The wooden stake. He sharpens them in shop class.
Yeah, man, on his little belt sander.
I will never get over the fact that he's casting silver bullets in shop class in whatever school he's in. I guess he's in high school. You don't have shop class in junior high, right?
No, he's got to be in high school.
It makes it a little weird. Patrick's sister definitely looks like she's in high school.
Well, so is he.
It's fucking weird then. It's a little weird.
Why is it? Okay.
I don't know, man. When you were a sophomore, did you hang out with kids in 7th grade?
No, I hung out with you.
Yeah, see? Well, that was weird too, but we're not the best people to ask about this shit.
We also never spied on anyone's sisters through their windows.
And took Polaroid or took photos of them and developed a Fox photo.
Yeah, in retrospect, that bit is weird.
Yeah, there's always got to be something weird and leering and creepy in an 80s
that's
movie.
why he's tough but not popular.
Because he's a perv?
He's a creep.
He's a peeping Tom.
He is. And the Monster Squad doesn't discriminate.
No, they don't. They take children, they take old men, whoever wants to hang out and kill monsters.
Fat kids.
Dogs, fat kids, Frankenstein monsters.
Yeah, Frankenstein joins the club at one point.
Yeah, that's the thing I love. Frankenstein's monster ends up being the good one out of the whole group, and he betrays his monster brethren. We didn't even get to explain the fucking movie. So what Dracula's goal is to gather all of these monsters together to ensure that on the specific date, this magic amulet that he has to, through the course of the movie, he uncovers underneath of Van Helsing's old house. I'm not even going to ask, but yes. And this amulet opens a portal to Limbo.
Yeah.
But if the monsters have it and control it, it basically opens a portal to hell, or it opens a portal to limbo, but going the other way, and all the monsters from limbo can come here. Either way, it's fucking bad. It's the end of the world.
Dracula having the amulet is bad news.
And the amulet is like a green glowy crystal with like metallic dragons wrapped around it. It's pretty cool. And yeah, that's the setup. Monsters want to do that. The kids figure it out, and they have to stop them.
The kids have that journal with the entry in it.
Yeah,
that has
his mom buys it at a yard sale at the old mansion, right? But it's in German.
And it has to be read by a virgin for it, like the spell to work.
Right, for the amulet to activate, like the portal, it'll suck all the monsters to limbo. And apparently anything else that it feels like sucking up. Cop cars, cops, whatever. Yeah. I don't understand how, that's never quite clear, how what Van Helsing does in the beginning is a failure, because it seems like he did exactly what the fuck they do at the end of the movie.
Well,
except all the monsters aren't in the same place, I guess, but...
Or maybe
I don't know. I never got it. They didn't get.
I always
maybe they just
thought it was the same reason that it didn't work the first time they tried it in the present, because
she wasn't a virgin.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
But the portal opened.
Yeah.
In this, they had to get Phoebe to read it to get the portal to open.
So the older sister read it and like nothing happened.
Yeah, remember? There's crickets. It's just crickets. And he's like, "Are you sure you're a virgin?" And she's like, well, "Steve, but he didn't count. Doesn't count. Is she a virgin?" Yes, I will help her.
Good. I will help her.
And her trying to mimic the German words as he's reading to us. It's really unintentionally hilarious. And I bet your sisters had memorized that too, didn't they?
I bet they know the whole thing. Yeah.
Toots die weh.
God.
But sorry. So favorite parts, like
I love. Yo, you go. You go.
All right. Well, this guy named John Grease, he plays the werewolf when he's a dude, and I love him. And he's been a character actor for years. He's been in all kinds of shit, but I will always think of him as the Wolfman. He was also in, for horror movie purposes, he was in Fright Night, too.
Okay.
He also played kind of a werewolfy vampire in that. It was kind of weird, but he was great, and I love all the Wolfman scenes. When he gets shot in the police station toward the beginning and then wakes up as the Wolfman in the coroner's van and kills the coroner, it scared the shit out of me as a kid. It was awesome.
That was fucking awesome.
And it's such a subtle transformation scene. Like, they just show close-ups of different parts of him getting hairy, that it just works without showing too much. And I just love that. I love that part. That was a cool scene. All right, now you go.
When they go to investigate the old house, and like they almost get killed in there. The kids are like trying to unravel what's happening, and like they get trapped in there, and the brides are coming after them. And the brides,
and then Dracula from one hallway, and the Wolfman from another.
Yeah, they like find the girls. Yeah, they allude to the fact that like earlier in the movie he's collected like 3 girls that he's gonna convert,
as Dracula does.
Yeah, and then they're like cornered, and then they start trying to like just run through this house, and then you think that Fat Kid's about to get taken out by Dracula, but he pulls the pizza out of his coat.
Right,
which
it's
apparently
wrapped in tin foil.
Yeah, and apparently it has a bunch of garlic on it, and he burns his face with it. I was like, that's odd. Like, what a neat detail, you know?
That burn looked gnarly too.
To
on
burn
his
him
face.
with pizza garlic, but that whole scene is scary. Like, you think, like, oh my god, how do they get out of this? I forget how they get out, but they do.
Frankenstein shows up, and then the wall collapses on him.
That's right.
And then they kick Wolfman in the nards. Horace does? Is he the one who kicks him?
Someone does. That whole scene, though, is just like, it's scary,
so
man.
Hardy
it's
Boys,
well
and like, and it's that adventure, that kid setting out on an adventure, you know. And then there's the one kid, of course, you know, Horace is always Hey guys, maybe we could just go home. Maybe we could just not do this.
Let's get out of here.
This seems really fucking scary. I don't want to do this. No, that you're right. That sequence is great. The sequence is great. The ending, the whole final act from the mummy scene on is just baller, dude. It's just so fucking cool. It's just such a great capper.
Well,
and
you remember, there's one thing you said, there was nothing that really takes you out of it. There's one thing that takes me out of it.
All right, tell.
At the very, very end, like they've already
I know what you're gonna say.
They've already gotten rid of the monsters. The girl reads the thing. The portal opens, sucks up the monsters. You know, you get a tender goodbye from Frankenstein. Phoebe, bye.
She throws him scraps.
Yeah, scraps gets sucked into the beyond, and like they did it, and then the army shows up, and there's some old fart with an army helmet chewing on a cigar. It's like, all right, son, where are the monsters?
Where are they?
And
where are the monsters?
They're there to vanquish the unnamed monsters because of a letter written by Eugene in crayon. It just says
You see him right earlier, yeah.
Yeah, he just writes in crayon in big letters like "Army guys, monsters.
Please come, there are monsters," or something,
monsters.
right? Yeah.
And that somehow works. That child's construction paper letter in crayon was enough to get the third tank battalion to show up and try to kill the monsters. They got a battalion
of army dudes and tanks to roll into a little tiny suburban town just right down the street.
Well, but
it takes me out of it. But it also gives me the opportunity to say that last line.
Who are you?
I love how the army guy says that too. He like drops. He's like turns into an actor from the 40s, right? You know, who are you? We're the Monster Squad. Gives him the fucking card, and then the fucking song, the Monster Squad theme song comes on, which is the most ridiculous theme song ever recorded. I love it.
Gotta get up.
I love it.
Gotta get up. We got work to do. Work to do.
Frankenstein and the Monster 2. It's so goofy.
Well, you know what?
Monster Squad, forces of evil.
You know what had come out before that, and it ended almost the same way with like a goofy rap. Ghostbusters.
Yeah, well,
Ghostbusters ends with this, too hot to handle, too cold to hold. They're called the Ghostbusters, and they're in control.
Wasn't that Ghostbusters 2?
Was it?
I think that's good. Yeah, because Ghostbusters 1 ended with the Ghostbusters song, which was not much better. But
when did Ghostbusters 2 come out?
90 or 91.
Damn it, I'm getting this all wrong again.
Yeah, you're getting old. Your brain's getting smooth. It's okay. Me too, man. I can't remember no names or nothing.
Can't remember Michael Rooker to save your life.
Never, ever.
Anyhow, other than that, like that's the only like really cheesy thing I can point to that doesn't really serve the story or make it feel like a monster movie.
You know what other scene I love? And it's a little one. I love the scene where Sean is sitting on his roof watching a drive-in movie with binoculars. Now, for people who didn't know how this worked, in the 80s, by the 80s, the drive-in theaters that were still around, you would pull in and you would tune your radio to a specific station, and that's how you got the audio for the movie. So what Sean's doing, he's sitting on the roof and he's watching it through binoculars, and he's just close enough to be able to get it on a transistor radio that he's got with him on the roof. And then his dad comes home, crawls out there with him, and he's watching a horror movie that his friends all went to see. He couldn't go because he had to babysit his sister, and he was pissed. So this was his compromise. Dad gets home, comes out with Burger King, right? Isn't it Burger King?
Yeah, it's either McDonald's or Burger King. Yeah, and
I just remember it's like styrofoam containers of burgers, and they eat them on the roof.
That was awesome.
Horror movie from like a mile away.
How badly did you want to do that yourself?
like there was nothing to look at. I could crawl out on my roof from a window, but there was nothing
like
to look at.
that exact scenario. How
Exactly,
badly
yeah,
did you
dude.
want to be on a roof eating a burger with your dad, watching a
all
horror
my heart.
movie on a drive-in screen? Like that
There's
was
just
the
something
dream.
about that picture that it painted was so perfect and it was so of the times too. I love that scene. I just love it.
That's a good
out of
one.
any movie. Out of any movie. The scene with Eugene and the mummy is pretty fucking hilarious, and his dad. The older
when he
I
comes to
got,
check the closet.
the older I got, the more I identified with the dad. But that always kind of freaked me out as a kid to know that while his dad's doing that whole routine, the mummy is actually in the fucking closet. And that was a great reveal too. His
Yeah.
dad never even looks, and it's there.
And I can tell you from experience the like when you have to go into your kid's room for the fourth time, like they should have been
Can't imagine.
asleep like an hour and a half ago, and like you have the monitors and they're still like, Mom, and it's like, and you're like, Jesus, can I sit down for 5 minutes? And you got to go in there again, like that. I get it. Now my kids haven't told me that there's monsters in the room, but I'm walking in there the same way. I'm like, what? What do you want?
We didn't have no monitors when I was a kid, but I remembered I had like, if I bothered them twice in a night, it better be something really fucking important. Like I could get away with like I had a bad dream, but after that was it. I had like one card. After that, I was risking serious wrath.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
But that's a funny scene. You know what is kind of goofy? If you want a goofy one on my end.
Yeah, what's that?
The mother leaves a message for Sean and says someone called from school or whatever, and that it's a guy named Dr. Alucard
Oh God.
or Mr. Alucard, and it's anagram, the worst anagram of Dracula ever.
He figures out. Yeah, that.
And you
that
see
was
him doing it on paper.
He's scratching out the letters. Yeah.
And they make it all dramatic and shit with the music. Like it's cool as a scene, but it's pretty juvenile.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, Frankenstein gets dropped in the lake from the plane, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the Wolfman is presumably around town, right?
Mm-hmm.
They never explain like why he wound up in that town. And then like in that same scene, you see Dracula reviving Frankenstein, and then the mummy just wanders into frame, and the wolf, or not the creature from the Black Lagoon is the one that like pulls the crate out of the water
from the lake. Yeah.
and he like throws it because he's mad strong.
That's strong.
Yeah, he's way strong. But like they never explain like how the monsters got there. They just show up.
I always assumed that like Dracula somehow called them.
News
Like, 'cause
team, assemble.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. Because I mean, he seems to have a fair amount of control. He has control over the Wolfman when he's in wolf mode. The creature seems to do whatever he wants him to do. So does the mummy has no agency. He doesn't talk. And he's doing whatever Drac says. And Frankenstein's monster is the only one who can actually think. And he he betrays his ass. So yeah, I just kind of figured, since Dracula in his mythos is able to control things like rats and wolves and whatnot, I just kind of figured he was able to control the more animalistic monsters, and Frankenstein's monster is more of a human.
Okay, yeah, I'll buy that.
Not an artificial human, but a human. I mean, it kind of, if you want to assume that they were trying to link it to the original mythos of those movies, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, he's a home build.
Yeah, if you buy it. If you buy that he has a special cane that conducts electricity right into Frankenstein's neck.
Oh, that's right. He carries a lightning rod.
Temple bolts.
Yeah.
Can we talk about
neck
Dracula's
bolts.
car for a second? Can we talk about Dracula's
It's like
car?
an evil Rolls Royce.
It is. It's got that crazy skull hood ornament and shit. And then it turns into a phantom car. and goes through the cop car and freaks him out.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that scene.
It's got that guy who I always think is Ernie Hudson, but isn't.
I know who you're talking about.
Not being racist, they look a little bit alike. Fuck off.
Well, he's also like playing a cop too.
Yeah, it's Stan Shaw. He's been in a million goddamn movies, just like Ernie Hudson. The thing I remember most from is Daylight. The Stallone movie about the Hudson Tunnel collapse. Yeah, he was one of the MTA officers who was in the tunnel when it collapsed. His neck gets broken and they have to leave him behind.
Oh God,
it's brutal. It's brutal. But I thought that was Ernie Hudson for a long time too. I don't know what's wrong with me. They're completely different looking people. I'm just an asshole. Oh God, yeah, he was in Jeepers Creepers 3. Jesus Christ. Stan Shaw, what are you doing? Any other favorite scenes? Anything jump out at you?
I don't know, man. Like, yeah, I just remember liking that whole movie from start to finish. It holds up. The whole thing holds up.
I never wanted it to end. I was always sad when it was finally over. Yeah,
especially because like the climax, there's just so much stuff happening. You know, like when Fat Kid kills the creature, and it's like coming
with
after
a shotgun blast to the chest, no less.
Yeah, man,
he picks up a shotgun from the clutches of a dead cop who got his head crushed by Dracula. I think it's actually a Smith & Wesson pump that they made for cops that they didn't make for that long. And he fucking racks it and fucking just blasts that motherfucker, man.
And then they're like, whoa, good job, Fat Kid. And then he's like, my name is Horace.
Yeah. It's the two bullies from earlier are like, I guess they work at that store and they wouldn't open the door to let him in. Yeah. And they like shake their heads and hide behind the counter. And he just fucking wastes the Gillman. It's the brother from Wonder Years.
Yeah, I think his name's EJ in the movie.
EJ, let me in. EJ, let me in. Yeah, no, that's fine. And that wound, I always remembered the bloody wound on the Gillman looked so open. Real.
Yeah,
it was all black and like, oh, that's gross, man.
When they blow up the Wolfman with the dynamite,
what? That was fucking sick.
And they thought like it was gonna. Yeah, he tucks it in his pants, and then they like kick, and they push him out of a window. And then, they think it's going to kill him, and he just reassembles himself.
Because there's that great low panning shot, like almost camera on the pavement, of all the pieces of him.
Just like getting a foot sucked back together.
Yeah, they show the furry foot and the furry arm, and then they show the torso, which has one arm missing and one arm still there, and he sits up. And then all the parts start moving, and they all pull back, and then he just stands up as a shadow and howls.
Assemble!
I'll never forget how like they show the close-up of the foot and then the toes like just gently flex together. So the claws go like cheek, cheek, cheek. It was just such a weird little like, ew, man, what the fuck is that?
Oh, it looks so good.
But somehow his pants are not in fragments because you can't see his wolf dork.
He was wearing Hulk pants.
Yeah, he had to be wearing Hulk pants. And also, can we talk about how it's a little fucked up as a kid to see Rudy shoot the Wolfman with a silver bullet. He goes down, and then the next shot, he's human with a giant bullet wound in his chest. And he goes, "Thank you," and dies. Because he's been relieved of his curse.
What's fucked up about that?
That's fucking intense shit for a kid in a monster movie.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I'm saying. It stuck. I think that's why I always liked that actor. Yeah. He played a good part.
In the beginning, like he's trying to get himself locked up by the cops.
Yeah, and remember he fakes, Dracula keeps him drugged up when he's a human, and he faked taking the pills so that he could go to that phone booth and try to warn him. Tried to warn Sean's dad. That's what it was. He called him. Yeah. I mean, it's not, the plot it's neat. Like this, it's a very tidy script, you know, and maybe cutting those 13 minutes helped him tighten it up, man, because this movie, the pace is just right. It's not too goofy for too long in any one spot. There's plenty of action. Like we said, there's a great final act and big climax that feels like it lasts longer than it actually does, which is a good thing. I don't know. It's just a great kids movie. It's a great monster movie. It's a great kids doing crazy shit on crazy adventures in suburbia. You know, it was something you could really relate to just growing up in most towns in this country, I think, that aren't major cities. And I hope people still watch it. Do people still watch it?
We still watch it.
We still watch it. Every Halloween, I have to watch this on Halloween.
Totally.
Pretty much I watch this and Carpenter's original Halloween. Those are I have to watch them on Halloween no matter what's going on.
Yep, I'll do the same thing. It's just funny. It's just become required viewing, you know, like you put on Miracle on 34th Street and It's a Wonderful Life on for Christmas. You put on Monster Squad and Halloween for
That's
October.
Right.
You got
That's right. You gotta. And I've been watching Monster Squad on Halloween for a long, long time. So I'm still not sick of it, man. I don't know. It's not a perfect movie, but for what it's trying to be, it's pretty fucking close to what it's trying to be.
It's not perfect, but it's awesome.
It's awesome, dude. And I think that the fact that Stan Winston did the monsters, it pushed it just over the edge that a lot of other lower budget 80s horror movies, just even Hellraiser, like some of the ones we mentioned on this list that came out that same year, The Gate and Hellraiser, you know, they were cool and really interesting concepts and new stuff in horror, but their special effects were not very good.
This was the best looking one.
Yeah, I mean, Creepshow 2 looked pretty fucking good, most of it.
Well, yeah, that was like Tom Savini and all that.
But yeah, I mean, think about just the practical effects represented on that list that we ran through. RoboCop, you know, amazing stuff. Inner Space, it was a different type of special effects, but they did some wild shit in that movie for the time. You know, Lost Boys, the vampire effects in that. A lot of people, that really did look good for what it was. You know, and on the more practical side, Hamburger Hill was a pretty bloody and pretty. It wasn't a sanitized war movie at all, and it looked pretty fucking good.
You want to hear something a little embarrassing?
Yeah, sure.
Earlier you said Hamburger Hill, and I think I heard Heartbreak Ridge.
That's okay.
I was thinking about that one, the one where Clint Eastwood is running around in his tight yellow T-shirt, you know, threatening cadets.
I love Heartbreak Ridge. Yeah.
That's what I thought of when you said Hamburger Hill. Not the same movie.
It's a ridiculous movie, but I love that movie too. No, Hamburger Hill's it's a very sad Vietnam movie.
Oh boy.
Which unfortunately came out very close to Platoon and kind of got overshadowed, but is just as important in retrospect. So, if you haven't shown your kids Monster Squad, show them Monster Squad. Ruin their minds a little bit. It's good for them.
Well, I mean, depending on, make sure they're ready for it. It's scary. My 5-year-old's not going to be able to handle that. But hey, man, when she turns like 7, well, we're going to find out.
Trauma builds character. Don't forget that. All great artists are fucked in the head from something their parents did. Usually. That's your responsibility to fuck their heads up right.
Oh, man. Do it just the right way.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what that is, but figure it out. I'm not in this game. I don't play this game.
It's a lot of
pressure. It's fucked up.